Ben Doughty for the hardest game with the one and only Joe Gallagher. I've got to say, this is long overdue for me, Joe, because you are a major face and voice in British boxing, so I'm glad to finally have an audience with you.
Yeah, listen, we're just doing our job, aren't we? So that's it.
I feel as if you were the star of the show at the press conference today, and it did look like...
I wouldn't say it's that show. I just feel there's been a narrative that's been portrayed over the last few weeks of this Ivan Drago type of character that hasn't lost the round too fast, too young, and I just needed to state a few facts today that no, you're not good with southpaws. You've lost to loads of southpaws as an amateur. You've been given standing counts as an amateur. You've been dropped as an amateur. You've been dropped as a pro sparring, and you're not good at southpaw. So this narrative, this passing of the guard, is nonsense. And that's why I said, well, David Hay was one of them kids that thought he knew it all until he came up against 40-year-old Carl Thompson. So I had to mention to Rob as well that he had the old wise head in Carl Froch to deal with George Groves in the end, and in this fight Friday night, really it's an old bull, young bull type of situation. Do you know what I mean? Young bull all giddy and excited, with the old bull has got that. Natasha's got that little timing, she's got a ring experience, she's been in the battle, she's done 10 hard rounds numerous times with Michaela, Katie, Terry, and Lauren's not been there yet.
On the subject of Natasha's age, sometimes we're quick to start writing a fighter off based on the numbers, but have you seen any deterioration there in terms?
I was worried in December because she was put out. She hadn't fought for a year since Michaela, but she's got that ring rust off. And my main concern, I'll always back Natasha 100%, but you know and I know, Ben, is like there's no medical record saying anywhere a woman fighting 2-3 weights out of a weight division at age 41 how she mentally and physically is at the age 55, 60. We don't know what the wear and tear on that. And that's my only concern with Natasha at the moment, that Natasha is only a super featherweight lightweight. She's moved up to light middleweight, now she's about to come down welterweight, but she's really a lightweight light welter, and yet we're fighting someone who's boxed at super middleweight and has boiled down. So there'll be a massive difference in weight on the night and everything else, but it's them type of things that concern me a little bit at the moment, and Natasha wins this, hope she's done them.
I want to talk to you about the Southpaw dynamic. A friend of mine called Michael Olajide Jr., I'm sure you've heard of. We call him the contrarian, but he's got a few theories that go against the grain, and one of them is that all right-handers should actually be southpaws. Your strong hand should be the lead hand, and the vice versa goes for left-handers should be southpaws.
Well, De La Hoya did that, didn't he?
And Hagler did it the other way around, and we've seen examples. But what's your opinion on this default setting that he says we should all, if we're right-handed, we should all be southpaws? Do you have an opinion on that?
No, I don't. I can see what he's saying, but yeah, no, I don't really. Listen, I think I'm always a big fan of it. I can understand it because when you think about on the lead hand how much damage people do when they throw a left hook and a left hook to the body and a lot of power in it, more so than a right hook and a right hook to the body. So I get it from that point of view. But then at the same time, when you're chopping the right hand down from an orthodox stance with the shoulder behind it, full on with the hip and everything driven into it, it's some force. Thrown with speed that's landing on there, but I do get it. Mostly the jab, I do get it, but just the other way. Do you know what I mean? Just feint, lead, use the jab to break them up, and then start chopping the right hands in.
Yeah. Who's Natasha been sparring for? Are you able to tell me who she's been sparring for?
Listen, we've had great sparring with Jazza Dickens. He just had a great win over Zelfa. Josh Holmes, English super featherweight champion. A kid from Mexico, Brian Aram, who's like 15-2 southpaw. He was Barbosa's sparring partner as well. Then we've sparred some really top, really good Ukraine amateurs when I took Sasha to southpaw, to Saudi. With Mo last week, she was out there sparring some really top Ukrainian southpaws. So if Lauren wants to go back to GB amateur boxing when we covered that base, then if she wants to be, how she says, too quick, too young, then no one better than Jazza Dickens for ring craft, experience, movement, slipping and sliding, and then Josh Holmes for his skill and for his punching and power, and we've covered all boxes. So.
Talk about the fundamental differences between amateur and professional boxing. Someone who's been in the limelight as long as you have for so long obviously is going to get flack and criticism, especially in this sea of idiots online. And I have seen you speak rather impassionedly at Border Control Awards a few years ago when you spoke about the trolls and your vitriol for them. If there's a knock on the Gallagher blueprint, supposedly, people say that your fighters are very well conditioned, but they're all hands up and come forward and not necessarily so nuanced and layered. Can you respond to that?
Yeah, all right then. So you look at John Murray. He was a good come-forward fighter like Chavez. But John Murray didn't fight like Callum Smith.
No.
Did he? No. Callum Smith's performance over George Groves was totally different. Jose Burton had a kid from aged 11, and he came through. He won the schools, won the ABAs, boxed for England, and won a British title. Jose Burton didn't walk forward with his hands up. John Murray's brother, Joe Murray, I had since age 14, and he ended up going to the Worlds, getting a bronze medal, and got to the Beijing Olympics, boxing on the back foot. You've got to go with what the fighter's best suited for and best tailored for. Do you understand? You can't make Ricky Hatton Floyd Mayweather, and you can't make Lennox Lewis Mike Tyson. You've got to go with the attributes and what they go. So to say that, I think that's, you explain it, just the ignorance, and it's very easy to say that. Stephen Smith was a great counter-puncher fighter. Liam Smith was what I call my Donald Curry type of fighter, sitting in the pocket, punching. Crawler was like my Marquez type of fighter, a compound, not the fastest hands, fastest thingy, but good engine and a good shot selection. Natasha Jonas, I wouldn't say that. She can box on the back foot, she can box on the front foot. And I think we changed the style. You can't say about Lawrence Okoli at the moment. He's not hugging and hitting no one. He's not walking forward his face. Lawrence Okoli's had 2 fantastic wins this year. Last year, first round, and he's on fire, and Lawrence isn't walking in with his face so chin up. It's just absolute nonsense. That's the ignorance and that's the naivety, and that's why I always say real boxing people are getting less. Like I dropped the mic yesterday in Sky.
I saw that.
When someone said that Usyk is like she's Lauren's next Usyk, and I just thought I can't listen to that type of bullshit. It's absolutely rubbish.
And I salute you for that, because in this day and age, it is a sea of chancers who, they get a camera.
Whether that's a camera or whether that's a coach or whether that's a manager.
Yeah, indeed, because these days professional boxing is a bit like the Wild West. You get these people who come from nowhere and they seem to assume a degree of importance sometimes, and maybe they're blagging it, Joe.
Exactly.
Short answer. So, but who is your favourite fighter of all time? Who is your boxing archetype? You think that is perfection in the ring?
I always remember Donald Curry beating Colin Jones and Milton McCrory at the time, and he was red hot. I thought he was a great fighter. But before then, obviously, you go Ali. When you look back and you watch Emil Griffiths, and then you watch Sugar Ray Robinson and fighters like that, and Henry Armstrong, and listen, you put them now, and so explain to me, we're supposed to be so much sports specific, sports science and everything else like that, yet we can't get heavyweights to do 15 rounds fight. Yet you look at Ali and Frazier and Foreman and all them great heavyweights are doing 15 rounds every 2 months, every 3 months, every month, you know what I mean? And yet they were just running hobnail boots, eating steak, eating ice cream and doing road work, hitting bags, no pads. And that's another thing. I think pads have crept into the game, where it stops fighters thinking, because you're telling them what to do all the time. They don't know how to box a bag no more. Just different things like that.
Have you got very little time for these eye candy routines of like pop, pop, pop and pivot and all that?
No, listen, I've done it once or twice. This is hand-eye coordination, but like I say, you might as well go and play table tennis as well as do that, because that's just as good, moving your feet around the table, high in, do you know what I mean? Do table tennis.
I always feel, you'll get, even when you train novices, or there might even be white collars or clients, they can get quite good on the pads when you're working with them, but you put them on a bag and they don't know how to hit it.
That's what I'm saying, you're telling them what to do.
Yeah.
So when you take a fighter then that's always used to pads and putting them in the ring, and they've got to think for themselves, they don't know what to do, where on a bag, they've got to know to hit the bag when it comes to you, control the bag. We've just had Roberto Duran in the gym for a couple of weeks overseeing Mo and all that, and his knowledge and experience and picking his brains, how his fight week was like, and the sparring. He used to spar Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday on fight week, and go for walks for an hour Thursday, Friday, then fight Saturday night. Imagine sparring now Monday, Tuesday. We always spar on the Monday, but
you spar Monday or fight week, yeah?
We always fight on Monday. It's too long a gap. It's too long of a gap to completely shut down. It's too long a guy, whether big head guard, big gloves, but you've got to spar. It's too long. You're a fighter, and that's what you do best. But to stop a week out, how can you expect to turn up? It's like a footballer. You don't start playing football a week before a cup final, do you?
You know, Tony Simpson, when he fought Marvin Hagler, they said he stopped sparring 3 weeks before that fight. You think that's suicide?
Who won?
Yeah, but I guess he could have sparred probably the morning of the fight. And I need to talk in the microphone. He wouldn't have beat Marvin Hagler anyway, I don't suppose. But you don't regard it as good practice, certainly.
Each to their own, whatever the fighter. And it's down to the fighter. I understand they get a bit nervous and they don't get caught with a shot or a nick or anything else. But I think sometimes you being hesitant, things happen. Just you're either all in, don't be in no man's land.
I could talk to you all day about boxing, but I don't want to commandeer you for too long. Can I get a quick prediction from yourself for Friday night? On
Natasha's fight?
Yes, please.
Listen, I just think we're dealing with a young bull, old bull situation here, and I think timing is key, experience is key, and Natasha has a proven track record of digging deep and doing 10 hard rounds. I think once we can start getting into Lauren Price and losing her round, and she's fantastic. She's got a lot of grit. I can't take that away from her, but sometimes grit isn't enough, and it's just being a bit cute. And I just think Tasha has that ring IQ and that cuteness to surprise everyone in the performance that she'll put on Friday night.
Joe Gallagher, British boxing legend. I think also everybody is aware of recent challenges. I'd just like to say it's marvellous to see you talking so well and looking good today. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you. Nice to meet you. Cheers. Thank you. No problem.